this is your first time checking out my channel, please do consider subscribing, because on this channel I'll teach you how to do simple DIY fashion right there in the comfort of your home. Today I'll be showing you how to make a simple dress with double circular sleeve. This is the fabric that I will be using today to make this dress. This is what my client likes very much, and I like it too. So let's get started. This dress will not be made for myself, but for a client. So I will not be using my measurements to do this dress. So I've made a series of videos on how to make a straight dress. So I'm just gonna mark these on pattern paper, because the table is blue and the fabric has mostly blue, so I'm afraid it's gonna collide with each other. So I'm gonna do it on the paper, draft the back and the front on the paper, and then I transfer it onto my fabric. So let's get started. So the first thing I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start with my shoulder line. Okay, then from shoulder line I'm going to put my chest line. You know how to calculate your armhole line. Hers is 9 inches, so I'm gonna put 9 inches here, and I'm gonna rule that line. This is our chest line. Then her bust point line is 13 inches. Her waist to her nape to waist is 18 inches. And from here down is 9 inches for her hip line. And then the length of her dress is going to be 45 inches. So from the nape all the way down to her dress length is 45 inches, and I'm going to add 2 inches to turn it up, or 1.5 inch. So what I'm doing, I'm drafting the back and the front on one pattern paper, because if you notice this dress, you see that it just has a waist dart, but the detail is on this sleeve, the circular sleeve. So I'm gonna go ahead and impute her measurements. So I'm gonna do my 3 inches, 8 inches standard. I'm gonna go down from the 8-inch point 1 inch, and I'm going to draw the shoulder. Okay, so our shoulder is actually 17.5 inches. So half of 17.5 inches is 8.75, and I'm going to make it 9 inches. So I'm going to make it 9 inches. I'm adding 1/4 inch for seam alone, so 9 inches here, and I'm going to make 9 inches also on the chest line, and I'm going to square that line. Okay, so for her armhole, I'm gonna find the midpoint of this line. And for the front armhole, I'm gonna go in 3/4 of an inch, and then I'm going to curve it. Our bust is 45 inches, which is 11 1/4, and I'm going to add 1/4 inch more for ease. I'm gonna make it 11 1/2. So that's what I'm putting on her bust line. Made 1/2 inch ease, and then I'm going to use my armhole curve and connect this line to this line, and then this point to that line, and then I'm gonna curve the back armhole because I'm doing both of them on one pattern. So there you have our armhole measurement. Now what I'm going to do now is that I'm going to impute our dart. Our nipple to nipple measurement is 9 inches. So this is our waist. So let me write that. This is our chest, this is our bust point, and this is our waist, and this is our hip. Okay? So at our waist, I'm going to put our nipple to nipple measurement, which is 9 inches. 1/2 of 9 inches is 4.5 inches, and I'm gonna take that up to the bust point. Also gonna take that down to the hip, and I'm gonna draw those lines connecting. This is just gonna have a waist dart. You could do a princess dart if you want. And I'm gonna make 1 inch for dart. From the bust point line, I'm gonna go down 1 inch, and from the hip, I'm gonna come up 2 inches. And then I'm going to connect these lines. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna use a different color to indicate the back. I'm gonna use the orange marker. So for the back, your bust will go up. Your dart will go up to 1 inch below. I hope we can see this. 1 inch below the chest, to the chest line. Okay? So this here is 1 inch below my chest line, which is right here. And then you're going to connect this dart. So it's different. So when you are sewing, you should make that indication. And then it goes to 1 inch below the hip. Right? This. So the orange is for the back and the blue is for the front. Now I'm going to put her horizontal measurements. So as I said, our chest line, our chest, our bust is 45. 45 divided by 4 is 11 1/4, and I put 1/2 inch for seam allowance. Okay, and then I'm gonna add 1 more inch to sew this together. So I'm gonna go to her waist. Our waist is 39 inches, 9.45, 9.75 rather, sorry, 9.75. So a quarter of 39 inches is 9.75, and I'm gonna add 1 inch, 10.75 for the dart, and 1 inch to sew it together. Okay, so let me say that again. Her waist is 39 inches. A quarter of 39 inches is 9.75, and I added 1 inch for darts, that's 10.75. There you have it, plus 1 inch to sew it together. Her hip is 46 inches. and a quarter 46 is 11.5. So I'm just going to add that 11.5 here, and 1 inch to sew it together. Okay, so this measurement here, I'm going to take it all the way down to the bottom of the dress. So this measurement on the hip, I'm taking it all the way to the bottom of the dress. Now, if you want the dress to be penciled, you could take away 1 inch or 1.5 inch away from your measurements, but she doesn't want it to be penciled, so this is what you're gonna have. So what I'm gonna do now, I'm just going to connect these here. Remember, I tell you, whenever you're doing your dress, should come down about 1.5 inches down from your hip before you. So in this case, it doesn't apply. Only if you are penciling your dress. This will just go straight down. Okay, this will not be curved. This is just a straight dress. Okay. Alright, so let's talk about the neckline of this dress. If you notice the neckline of this dress that's here, it is very high, but she doesn't want hers to be that way, so I'm gonna make her neck width to be 4.5 inches. Okay, and then neck depth, I'm gonna take it down about 6.5 inches. She doesn't like it too close to her neck, and I'm gonna just give it a round neck. You could do whatever you want. It all depends on you. It all depends on what you want. And then what I'm going to do is that I'm gonna put my 1/2 inch to sew it, the shoulders. Remember also the back neckline, you could come down about 1 inch, or depends on you. That's just your preference. Alright, so always double check your measurements to ensure that you have it correct. So this is what you're going to have for your skirt. What I'm going to do, I'm going to cut out the back first, then cut it on the fabric, and then I cut out the front dart and also cut it on the fabric. Now there's something I want you to do. Take note of your measurements, your armhole measurements for the front, because you're going to need it to draft the circular sleeve. So this is 10.25 for the front, and 9.5 for the back. So 10.25 plus 9.5, that's going to be 19.75. Okay, so you're going to take note of this measurement because you're going to need it when you're drafting the circular sleeve. Okay, so I'm going to cut this out now. remember for the back, you're going to leave 2 inches extra at the back for the zipper allowance. Okay? Remember, you're going to put a zipper in this, so you have to leave allowance at the back for that. So what I'm doing, I'm just making some indications, some notches, so that when I'm sewing, and I also made a slit in the back to give her ease of walking. So I'm just gonna notch the waist and the hip. Also, I'm going to make some indication of where the darts sit. This is important so that it's easier for you when you are sewing. Okay? So I know my dart stops here. But I use a different chalk, color chalk. Okay, so I'm gonna make some indications about the waist. Okay, because I have to cut out the back just a little bit so that it doesn't bulge. My waist. So I'm gonna go in at the waist about 1/2 inch. And I'm going to connect it back to the hip here. I don't want it to be bulgy. This is why I'm doing this step. I'm just going to cut that out. There you go. Alright, so this concludes the back. I'm just going to transfer the darts so that I do not, so when I'm sewing it's easier for me. So this is one of the dart here, right there. So I know I stopped there. Okay, here's one. And here's another one. And then so we're done with the back. Now we're gonna cut the front. Remember to cut out the neckline. and cut out the armhole. Okay, soulmates, so I've made a detailed video on how you could go about making a circular sleeve. So remember I told you earlier that you should make note of this measurement. This is the armhole measurement, the front and the back together, which is for one armhole, right? So now you're going to divide this measurement by 6.28, and when I divide this, I get 3.25. Okay, so that would be this measurement for the circle. So what you're going to do, I know that my the armhole is gonna be 3.25 plus the length of the sleeve is going to be 11. So 3.25 plus 11, so 3.25 plus 11 is going to be 14.25. So you're going to have 14.25 unfold. All right, so what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this and I'm going to measure. This is on, you're folding now into 4. Remember, 1, 2, 3, 4. If you watch my video, you'll see how detailed I was when it with that video. So I'm going to take from here my 14.25 and I'm going to make it 14.5 just for seam allowance. Okay, this is right here. Okay, so this is 14.5. I'm gonna cut this out. Okay, so now I want you to make note of the center. This is important now. If you watch my video, you will know why I'm telling you to do that. Make a note of the center of your fabric. Okay, make a note of the center of your fabric. This is important. Okay, so this is the center of my fabric. And you're going to choose, if you notice I have a crease here, if you notice right here, that's my crease from the center. This is my center now. So what you're going to do, you're going to come down the 3.25 inch, which is here, and that is where you're going to start taking your measurements from. So you're going to treat this as if it is your center. Okay, so this is now my new center. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to start take 3.25 all the way around. Why did I do this? If you don't do it like this and you start to take your measurement from the initial center, when you finish your garment, you're going to have excess measurement underneath your armpit, and it does not look flattering at all. It doesn't look flattering at all. So if you do it this way, you will eliminate that. Okay, You're gonna see what happens when I'm done. As I said, you could check out my previous video. I made a detailed video showing you how to do this. I'm gonna link it. Okay, so now this is the circle that I'm going to cut out. Okay, if you had a compass, this will even be great. Okay, so what I'm gonna do, I'm going to cut this out. This is just one of the sleeve. So this is what you're going to have. So what you're going to do, you're going to cut out another sleeve like this. Okay, so this is the big one, and this I'm gonna cut the smaller one. Okay, so mates, so now we're going to sew this dress together. These are the pieces that I have. What I'm gonna do, I'm gonna take the darts in. That's the first thing I'm gonna do. Okay, so this is what you have when you take the darts in. Okay, so what you're going to do now, I'm going to do a basting stitch up to the point where my zipper will go, just because I want to have accurate measurements. So because this part is going to have a lap, I'm gonna do a normal stitch here. Then I'm gonna do a basting stitch. So this is what you're going to have at the back. See how beautiful this is? Alright, so what you're going to do now is that you're going to attach the shoulders and the sides. Okay? I've attached it. Now I'm gonna attach the sides also. Alright, before I attach the sides, I'm gonna do the neckline. I'm gonna finish the neckline with the bias. Okay, so I'm just gonna use a bias strip for the neckline. So I went ahead and I finished the neckline. Just needs a good press. Now I'm going to attach it at the sides before I put in the zipper. Alright, so now I'm just gonna serge the sides just to make it a little bit neater. So the next thing I'm going to do is that I'm going to work on the sleeve. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna go ahead and hem my sleeve, and then I'm going to attach the sleeve to the armhole. So I'm gonna do that now. What it looks like when you attach the sleeve. So what I'm going to do is I'm gonna put in my zipper, give it a good press, and then I hem the tail. So if you find this video helpful, do not forget to give me a giant thumbs up. Do not forget to subscribe and turn on the post notification bell so you'll be notified each time I make a video. Until we meet again, I'll see you in my next one. Bye!
Bye!